Hey everybody, this is PJ Farley from Trixter, and you're listening to Thunder Underground.
Welcome to episode 275 of the Thunder Underground podcast. Trent and Jason here, and this week we've got PJ Farley from Trixter joining us.
Our second member of Trixter.
That's right. And our fourth member of the Blood, Sweat, and Beers tour.
Right.
As we,
right. Yeah, it is four. Okay.
Yeah, our understood goal was to get every member of that tour, living member of that tour.
Right.
So, we're like a third of the way there, basically.
You never know.
But yeah, really cool to have PJ here on the podcast. We're going to talk about all this stuff coming up. But, of course, we've got to let you know that we are, well, like we announced on the last episode, a brand new sponsor, Hella Hot Sauce. I was thinking about that, like, after the fact, like, now we've got hot sauce, concerts, tattoos, and marijuana. It's kind of like all we need now is liquor or beer sponsor, right?
Yeah, if someone's out there that wants to, one of you breweries or I don't know. We're not hipster enough for a lot of the breweries,
right?
So I don't know. And that's not a slight on any of them. I like to frequent a lot of them, as we all know.
Yeah,
but I don't know. That might be a hard sell to those dudes.
But I was just thinking all those things go together, in the rock world.
Right.
But Hella Hot Sauce is based out of the San Francisco Bay Area. They make small batch artisan hot sauces. It's a mom and pop style business. A husband and wife team that run it and bottle it and do everything. And they've teamed up with some people in the rock world, like we've had on our podcast, Florida Frank. They've got a new one coming out, Florida Frank's Florida Heat. They did one with Ghoul a while back called Brain Jerk. You can find all this stuff at hellahotsauce.com. Follow them on Facebook. All that great stuff, and tell them we sent you. Sunset Tattoo, right here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. They're located at 3146 East 15th Street. They've got 25 plus years of experience doing tattoos that are done good and proper. They're state licensed. They're mother approved. A lot of pictures you can check out on their Facebook or their Instagram at Sunset Tattoo Tulsa. They do great work, and we are very happy to have them on here as well. So if you give them a call or send them an email, you can find out a time that set up a time to get in there and talk about what work you need done. Med Farm, dispensary located in Broken Arrow, Oklahoma. So I just started thinking, like you mentioned, 4 of them. It's kind of getting lengthy, huh? Talking about all this stuff.
Right. I mean, you're gonna have to joust it, or you're gonna have to, pull a Jericho.
Yeah. Yeah, maybe coming up soon we'll do that. Like, cut in, right before the interview and say, hey, we're also sponsored by Med Farm.
Right.
In the meantime, we'll just tell you here up front again that Med Farm is located in Broken Arrow, Oklahoma, 24683 East Highway 51. They've got a drive-through, which is very cool for a dispensary. You can text or call in your order and then just drive through and pick it up. They've got a huge selection. Hit them up on leafly.com to see all their product. MedFarmOK.com is their website. That's spelled PHARM. You can also find them on Instagram at MedFarmOK and on Facebook, MedFarm. Cannabis with a Cause is their slogan because 30% of their proceeds are going to build no-kill animal shelters, which is an extremely great cause, and we're very happy to be a small part of that. So get over to MedFarm and tell them we sent you. And finally, DEB Concerts, promoter right here in Tulsa, Oklahoma. That's brought a ton of great stuff to downtown Tulsa. Most everything right now is kind of at a standstill or being rescheduled, but they do have some stuff coming up. August 15th, we've got 2 Tulsa area bands, Dead Metal Society and Rocket Science, that'll be playing the IDL Ballroom. And then looking forward into October, on the 23rd, LA Guns will be making their return to the IDL Ballroom. And once they announce openers, we'll let you know that. LA Guns has been out there a couple times. We interviewed them once when they were there. So looking forward to that as well. And hit them up at dbconcerts.com for ticket info. And on Facebook as well to be up to date on any changes or rescheduling and all that stuff as well. So huge thank you to DEB Concerts. All right. Let's play some music. Agony Incorporated out of Arkansas has a brand new single. And this is called Keeping Score. There you go. Agony Incorporated out of Arkansas with their brand new single called Keeping Score. Very glad to be able to play that. We played another one of their songs last year. Looking forward to what these guys got coming up. They've got members of Scorned in that band as well. Killer guitar solo on that, I thought. Great vocals. So, and they've mentioned on their Facebook as well that they've got shows to be announced as soon as all that can start happening. So be on the lookout for that and give them a follow on Facebook or Bandcamp or wherever you follow bands at. We've got to talk about this Seven Dust cover.
Oh, man.
Because we have not yet.
Right.
Came out a little under a couple weeks ago. They just posted that they had some kind of announcement on Friday, or just said this Friday, and then on Friday they released their cover of Soundgarden's The Day I Tried to Live.
Mm-hmm.
I'm pretty well, I know you've said that you loved it as well, right?
Oh, it's great.
Yeah.
I mean, go ahead. Were you gonna?
Oh, I mean, I don't know what I'm gonna. If I start talking, I'll probably just like fanboy all over this thing.
Well, it's just such a. It's one of those covers that comes along that just I don't know. I don't really know the right word. It's just that feeling. I sound totally fucking corny and shit, but it's kind of that when you hear Anthrax do Cowboy Song or something. And just how glorious that is. It is like so fucking Seven Dust, this cover, but at the same time, it's so honors the original and sticks to the original format. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, it's, and it's not because I don't give a fuck. I just don't know what else to say about it. It's just like one of those, I don't know. How else can you describe it? I mean, it's such a, covers are such a fine line, and you can do it. You can do it. You can stay true to the original, or you can totally like change it up and completely rearrange it and make it your own. And either way, you could shoot yourself in the foot.
Yeah.
I mean, we've seen it over and over and over again throughout the years. If we really went into it, we'd be here all goddamn night. So I just don't know what better words to say than I mean, I don't know. The stars lined up for, I kind of thought, and maybe it still will, I just kind of thought it'd get them a little bit more, of a pop. I mean, I heard Eddie Trunk talk about it and how great it was. But I mean, this is something, in these times, this is something really to hold, to hang your hat on.
Yeah.
I mean, they fucking knocked it out of the park. I hope, and I would think that there was like, in the studio when they were doing it, or, in the rehearsal room when they were trying to get it together. And I can't help but think there had to have been some kind of like feeling of magic.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like, Chris Cornell's spirit was in the room, or some, Horkin fiber chunk spiritual shit. I don't fucking know. But I mean, it really checked all the boxes, as they say.
Yeah.
And I'll turn it over to you.
Well, no, that's like a good point when you say that it just had that feeling where, you don't hear, you hear covers sometimes, you're like, oh, that's cool, that's great, and you listen to it a few times, but it doesn't like, I don't know, like when I heard that, I'm like, holy shit, and I listened to it like 3 or 4 times in a row, and then since then, I've listened to it probably 10 or 15 more times in the past week and a half, and it's almost like you said, you know everything that's going to happen in this song, but it felt new, which is like the mark of a great cover.
Right.
And you, like you mentioned, you could either stay true or you can completely change it up. Soundgarden, I mean, Seven Dust somehow fit right in the middle there, because it sounds, it sounds like The Day I Tried to Live, but like you said, it sounds like Seven Dust.
Right.
And there's very few people that could cover Chris Cornell. I mean, there's a lot of great singers that could cover a Cornell vocal and do good, but there's very few people that could do it and do it justice and make it their own the way Lejeune did.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. I mean, you can't, you can't really fuck with Chris Cornell.
Yeah.
And so I mean, I don't know. I mean, it's just like, wow. Yeah, they're just like, watch this, motherfuckers.
Right.
I mean, really. I mean, and you're right. Lejeune Witherspoon just nails it, and he fucking lives and breathes every part of this song, and he does it justice, and he honors it, and he doesn't even sound like Chris Cornell, and he's not trying to, and I don't know, man, fuck it. It's just fucking great.
Yeah.
It really is.
Yeah, Chris Cornell is absolutely one of my favorite singers. This is my favorite. This is the best song on Super Unknown. I don't care what people think. Black Hole Sun or Fell in Black Days or whatever. This is the song from that album to me. And Seven Dust is one of the best bands of the past 20 years.
Right.
And so for them to do this is like just perfect to me as a fan.
Yeah,
you know?
I agree. I agree.
With all that being said, check that out if you haven't.
Yeah, exactly.
And another thing to kind of parlay into the PJ Farley stuff is they Quarantine with a K recently released Heart of Chrome.
That was a good one.
Yeah, with Bruce Kulick in tow. And that was very cool. And that's another thing we've talked about many times. It's Revenge is, you know, in my opinion, one of the two greatest Kiss albums. And definitely the best non-makeup Kiss album. And for them to cover something off that was very cool. And, you know, have Bruce Kulick in tow as well.
Yeah.
So check those out if you haven't. They also did No. Oh, did you? Yeah, I forgot to ask you. Did you see that No 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 has charted on the mainstream rock Billboard chart?
Really? Wow.
That's
cool.
Yeah, that's what I thought was crazy.
Yeah, that's great.
I don't know if it was PJ or Chris Jericho. Someone posted that it was like, I can't remember, when I saw it the other day, it was like 50 something on the mainstream rock chart.
Wow.
But just for someone to do one of these quarantine style Zoom covers and it to chart on billboards, like crazy to me. So I wouldn't be surprised if that starts happening a little more going forward.
Times like these, man.
Yeah.
Fucking nuts. Anything could happen. We know that.
That's right. Well, PJ Farley has some solo stuff he's working on. We talk a lot about that. Raw, he's been a part of them for almost 20 years now. I think 18 years. And, of course, Trixter now for over 30 years. And like we kind of joked up front about the Blood, Sweat, and Beers tour, that was our first concert we ever saw.
Right.
So Trixter was definitely the first or the second band I guess we ever saw that was a rock band.
Yep.
Because they went on after Firehouse. So this is one of those ones that don't want to sound cheesy, but you know, this was our youth, and this is very cool to be able to talk about this kind of stuff.
Near and dear to our hearts.
Yeah. Well, let's jump into it. Here's PJ Farley.
How's it been so far? You guys like everyone else have been kind of at a stay home.
Yeah, it was. March and April were definitely a little bit more critical. I was out of work pretty much all of April, but I'm back to work, so it's kind of slowly opening back up. And then, this weekend with Trump coming and all that, it's. Everyone's kind of descending upon the city, so it's getting kind of crazy again. Everything's kind of boarding up.
Right. Rightfully so.
Yeah, exactly. So, that's what's going on with us.
So,
right, yeah, we're starting to open up here. We can eat outside at some places now as of Monday, and enjoying some sort of regular civilian life.
Well, how have you been handling it, I guess, on a personal level the past couple months?
It's funny. It's the strangest thing about it is that this is the longest I've gone without playing a show since like 1992. I think when I was on that heavy record tour cycle, then break, record, tour, break, record, tour, break. Maybe 94, 95 or something like that. And ever since then, I've been playing just nonstop live all over, the place, and never had a break for 3.5, almost, what is it? What month is it? June?
Yeah.
So, I'm on no shows, and it's been a pretty pretty much be 4 months before my next one. So that's the first time in 20 years or so that's happened. But aside from that, it's been great actually. Been really productive and getting to do all the shit that I never, that I would always put off, and stuff that I never knew I wanted to do, and just learning and playing and creating and being productive. Actually, it's been cool.
Yeah, I've got a ton of stuff done that I've put off forever, so it's been nice.
Yeah.
Well, you recently, you announced that you've got Accent the Change coming out here soon. Do you have a date on that, or is that still in the works?
Not yet. We're kind of in the process of doing that now. I mean, I'm thinking I really should just be wrapping it up within the next 2 weeks, having it mastered and everything. Then, manufacturing all that stuff and get it put on a schedule. I'm thinking probably end of August, early September.
Okay.
Earliest. Yeah.
Will you,
everything got pushed back a little bit, but it's all right. If it's good, it don't matter when it comes out.
Right. Well, you're doing this with High Vol Music. Like, what's that experience been like working with them?
It's great. Bill is an old friend of mine, and he's been around for many years, and he's very passionate about music and the product that he puts out. And he's kind of definitely stepped up his game a little bit with High Vol, and he's kind of going all guns a-blazing with it. So that's encouraging to, that's the kind of people I want to be with. I want to be with people who are fired up and passionate and willing to make moves and, make stuff happen, really. And he's got his hands in a bunch of different things. I mean, he's really making it happen.
You're playing all the instruments besides bass, or if it is bass, what do you feel that you're strongest at so far?
Well, ironically, this record, some of the songs I did everything on, but probably almost half of it, I had, I'd have to have someone else. I had someone else play drums, someone else play guitar. I kind of I always go back. The first record, I did everything myself, just out of necessity, really. I was there. I didn't feel like waiting for anyone else or calling anyone else at the time. I was just in a groove. And then, this time it's been so spread out, and I kind of wanted different feels and, other, people on it. I don't have to do everything myself this time. So, I've been working with my singer from the band Ra that I'm in. He's produced a couple songs, and he did a lot of the music on it. I mean, but I mean, I don't know. I mean, it depends on what I'm doing. I mean, some of guitar, I play guitar many, many, many years. I play it well enough to write on, and I know the parts. I can structure guitar parts and riffs and guitar, easy melodic guitar solos, and execute them within a certain degree of proficiency. But if I have another guitar player available, I'll certainly use that guitar player. But when I write a song, I do a rough demo, and then I work out parts. I work out other parts. I'm like, all right, pre-chorus here. What am I hearing? And it's kind of tinker around, and I write parts. Really, I mean, I'm not a shredding guitar player by any chance, and I don't need to be. I just want to get what I hear in my head out. And as long as I can do that, I'm good. On drums, same thing. I'm a very simple man. Boom cha, boom cha. But I know the feel, and I know the beat, I know the changes, I know the accents, and as long as it's not too complicated. Like, there's a couple things on this record that I knew would take me too long to get right, if at all, and not without an editing nightmare. So I would just have somebody else do it and get it done right, because I can.
Yeah.
I don't have to do everything myself. So.
Well, you mentioned a couple of songs, but are you self-producing some of these songs, or is there someone producing every song?
Pretty much. I mean, I'm producing the whole record because essentially a producer knows all the songs, the parts, and the pieces and everything. I mean, yeah. Aside from the songs that I do with Sahaj Ticketin from Ra, I did like 4 songs with him. I really let him do his. I mean, obviously, I wrote the songs. I knew what I was hearing, but I really kind of gave him the freedom, and I said, you know what I'm going for here. Do it, so he's definitely a co-producer in that sense in a big way. So, but a lot of the other stuff, if it's songs, especially the ones I played every note on, obviously that's me, and anything else was really just kind of engineering help. Whereas I was producing, and I had people working Pro Tools rigs and engineering, and doing stuff that are better than me at, getting sounds and all that stuff. That's not really my strong suit as of yet. I can do the basic form, but I just don't have the patience for troubleshooting when it comes to like really getting into the nitty gritty of getting tones and recording and, all that stuff. And I just don't have the background in it. So I get somebody who really knows what the hell they're doing. And it goes a lot quicker when you do.
Right.
I'll be the parts. I know the song. Let me do that. And you make sure you get the sounds that I want and get the good take.
Right. Well, creatively, when do you know, okay, that's stop, that's good, or when do you know I need something else here?
Really never. Not until it's out. Because, the longer it sits, the longer you go, you know what? I think I need to fix this, or I need to add that. I should put a harmony here. When you first write a song, you could tell when you have it. Like, just me and an acoustic guitar, when I write songs, I go, all right, I'm good. I got the lyrics, got the magic melody, I got all the changes. I'm good. Now I'll go in and I'll do a rough demo and kind of build the guitar parts, and once it really starts taking shape, when all the parts fall into place, and all right, then you leave a little bit of room of element of surprise for the studio, see what comes up then, and then a little bit for whoever I'm working with to say, hey, you hear anything, but for the most part, once the song is written, then that's the hard part.
Mm-hmm.
Once the song then you go, all right, now the fun begins, recording it, tracking it, and, messing with sounds and whatnot. But really, if you're just singing it and playing it on an acoustic guitar, and you can start it and finish it, and it's got a good dynamic, a good build, then, you're pretty much done with the song as far as composition. Then you just got to paint it.
You've been doing this long enough that you've been in different eras of the music business and the way things are handled recording. And like now it's a lot easier to be able to do something like this on your own than it would have been back in the 90s. Like, do you appreciate the fact of the way it is now, or do you miss like the old school way of going into the studio?
No, totally. I mean, I'm not a purist in the sense that, I don't get me wrong. I miss, all right, here we go. We're going to the studio for 3 months or 2 months or whatever it is. And really just that 12 hours a day, just really kind of I don't miss the getting beat up part and the exhaustion part. I miss the focus. You're so hyper focused on one thing. The outside world doesn't exist anymore. You guys are in the studio. You're working on this, giving birth to this egg, and nothing else in the world matters. And there's such a beauty to that. All distractions gone. And you're just like this. I miss that part of it. But I mean, the convenience of recording now is, man, hands down. It's a gem. It's a gift. It helped in so many ways. I mean, I'm old school in the sense that I don't like to just go, I like to get a real natural take on something as much as, I can. That's the old school mentality. Whereas people today, they're just like, I play that guitar part. Cool. Got it. Fly that in. Do the next part. Got it. I'll paste that in. It's like, I don't necessarily like that aspect. That's a little cold. I do like walking out of a session going, all right, I worked today. I feel that, a little tired and beat up a little bit, after one day, not 3 months, but I mean, I like that feeling of having, like, all right, I worked today. I got that. Not just laying it out. We'll fix it. We'll copy and paste it and stuff. I mean, I've done that, but I mean, it's not ideal. You don't abuse those kind of, tools. I just don't feel like I walk away going, like I've done sessions where I'm like, all right, he's got everything he needs, he said, but I don't feel, I'm not exhausted. I'm not drained. I don't feel like I could have done it. I could have been there no longer. I could do it again. Put me in again. Meanwhile, like, no, dude, it's great. I got it. You're good. I'm like, all right, whatever.
Well, you mentioned Raw, and just this past week, you guys announced that you're working on the next album. Is that in just the very beginning stages where, or have songs been written? What's the status on that?
Yeah, we have about a handful of songs written. We have, I think, 3 now recorded, and we'll start tackling that, I think, in August. I think the singer lives out in Indiana now, and so I think I'll be going out there and doing that record, working on that one. And that's hopefully, I think, looking put a single out maybe October, November, with the record coming out maybe January. That's the preliminary schedule. That'll all change.
Right.
Yeah.
But hopefully
not, with everything going on, is that something you guys hope to do live shows with?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Definitely get back out there and we did our first show back in like 6 years. We did Shiprocked this year, and it was like just a breath of fresh air. It was just, we did 2 shows on the boat, and it was just awesome. I mean, we really got the bug. So it was really cool. So we're definitely going to be doing some touring. And touring, I think, on this record, not long stretches, but the last record we put out in 2014, maybe? Maybe. We did like 2 weeks of touring or something like that, and that was it. And even before that, we would, go out for 2 weeks, and we'd be off for 2 months and go out for like 10-day runs and here and there. But I think we're going to go out and like do a support act tour, say 3-4 weeks, maybe max 3 weeks, maybe, then take a break, go out, do another support run, maybe a headline run, but do a little bit more, get out there a little bit more.
Well, having that much time off between shows, did it feel natural, like the shows went off perfectly, or did you guys have time to rehearse and all that?
Not really, no rehearsals.
Wow.
Every once in a while, maybe we did manage to get for Shiprocked after. You mean, is that what you're talking about?
Yeah,
first show back?
Yeah.
No, I think we played through the set maybe 2.5 times, and under really kind of poor scenario. Like we had in-ears that kind of really weren't working, and kind of tough to hear each other. No vocals. But, we just kind of went through the songs, and we're like, it'll all come together live. And it did, miraculously. It's not to say that, like, our 10th show into a tour that it all won't fall apart, because it very well could. But, I mean, we got lucky on the boat, so we'll take that. It's a good sign.
The stuff you do with Raw and your solo stuff and Trixter and Eric Martin's all different from each other. Do you approach that different when you're playing with Raw, like, since it's a lot different from the other stuff, or is it just kind of the same natural?
Yeah, I mean, it's not so much a different approach. I mean, my approach is always go in, give it your best, and have the best time you possibly can. So the approach is always the same. It's definitely a different, the different genres. So there's different feelings. I mean, there is that kind of, when we play with Trixter or Eric, we're playing to a certain genre and a certain crowd demographic, and that brings a different feel in some kind of intangible way than it does when you're playing for like a new, more modern, current crowd that's, maybe a little bit younger and fired up. And it's very cool for me. It's the best of both worlds. I get to play for everybody. I get to play, for all these active rock radio festivals and stuff to just, people that are just starting to bubble, fresh, new blood, and, kids out at rock concerts. And then I play for people who've been there with us for years, enjoying it, and really appreciating it, and appreciating a catalog and such a genre with such history that I get a really unique perspective, and I'm really lucky to be able to get that wide spectrum. But no, to answer your question, the approach is the same.
Okay. Speaking of Eric Martin, I mean, you're obviously an accomplished bass player, but Billy Sheenan's kind of known as one of the greatest bass players ever. Is any of his stuff that you play, was it complicated, or is it stuff fairly, across the board? I don't know. I'm not a bassist, so I couldn't really.
In my sleep, I learned that shit, right?
Okay.
No, I mean, look, I play those stuff, and it was great, man, because, I mean, I grew up with Billy. I grew up loving Billy, and, just being, just kind of perplexed by him. So it was a challenge and an honor, to be able to at least attempt, and still is, to attempt some of the songs. I definitely kind of dumb it down a little bit. I get some of the bullet points, and Billy plays a lot. He plays a lot, and he's just such a master, just a savant. It's just, you see him play, he's all over the place, and that's not how I play, but I can, I get the bullet points, and I get the stuff that counts. I mean, everything he plays counts, and but some of those riffs and some of those tapping things and I was never a tapper, but it, playing the Mr. Big catalog got me on that kick. So, which was kind of cool, because I never did that before, and some of learning some of those things were really cool. It was, but I practice it all the time and try to get it better and better. There's no chance I'll ever sit back and do a show and go, oh, I got this stuff now. I can always get better to do Billy some sort of justice. So, there's no rest on learning those songs.
Just like, correct me if I'm wrong, but do you primarily play with a pick?
No.
Okay.
Honestly, I mean, playing with Trixter, I always played with a pick.
I see.
But no, I play, it's 50-50. It's whatever the gig calls for. Ra, I always play. I've never played with a pick with Ra. Okay. With Eric, I don't play with a pick, except for when we do some of the Trixter songs. Even one or two of the Trixter songs, I'll play with my fingers. But with Billy, playing Billy stuff, no, I gotta play with my fingers there. And Ra is all fingers, and so I mean, that's a cool thing too. I'm always working on, because it's apples and oranges, playing with a pick and playing consistently and getting good tone, good technique with a pick, takes a while. And so does playing with your fingers. So I'm fortunate enough to have been doing both of those, for a long, long time. So, whatever I can kind of say, whatever the gig calls for,
Right.
If it'll sound better with a pick, play with a pick. Like you play, let's say, Just Take My Heart, with your fingers, and I wouldn't play Ace of Spades with my fingers.
Yeah,
exactly. I always say that. But if somebody hired me to play Ace of Spades, I play with a pick.
Right. Well, that's a good transition into the Eric Martin thing. And the one thing I kind of always thought was really cool was that not only did you guys do Mr. Big stuff, you did Trixter stuff, and I like that everybody was open to doing both things. And kind of how did that come about?
All his idea, man. I mean, we did this. This whole came about. I mean, we've known Eric for almost 30 years now, but he had this tour booked in Japan, and he needed a band to play with him. So he called me and Steve, and we got a drum. He's like, man, we should do like, because he's always been a big fan of ours, believe it or not. He's like, and he's always just He always has been. I mean, it's great. So he's like, we should do some Trixter stuff, man. And even like the bands that Steve and I had in between Trixter, a band called 40 Foot Ringo. He loved that band too. And my solo record, he loves that. So he's like, and we should do your song, like one of your songs of your record, and do a 40 Foot Ringo song. Let's have fun. Let's play all this stuff. So, I mean, I went into it like, we'll just be his backing band. That's fine. We'll play whatever. And he was like, no, man, let's do it all. He wanted to do all that stuff. Yeah, all him.
Also, you got this quarantine thing going on. Quarantine with a K.
Yeah.
And I was kind of curious, is like when the first song came out in May, it was kind of, this is a Chris Jericho thing. You know, it's kind of like he was the kind of face of it. And then the second song came out and you're the only person that's on both songs. So like, is this kind of like a rotating cast of characters, or how's that going to work?
The second song was with, are you talking about Mr. Speed?
Yeah.
That we did with the Mess? Well, that was with a totally different band. That was, ironically, that was with Joe from Quarantine on guitar and vocals, but it was Charlie Benante from Anthrax on drums and John Five from Rob Zombie, the guitar solo. So that wasn't Quarantine, because that was 70s Kiss. Quarantine with a K is strictly Bruce Kulick era Kiss.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
So, but Quarantine does have our new single coming out next Friday, 26th, I think.
Okay. Nice. Have you announced what song that's going to be, or is that a surprise?
Heart of Chrome.
Oh, nice.
Oh, wow. Right on.
Yeah, that's my favorite. That's my favorite Kiss album. So I'm looking forward to it.
A lot of people's favorite non-makeup Kiss record, and Bruce Kulick is on it with us.
Oh,
yeah,
nice.
That's great. Well, on the Mr. Speed, I loved the part where you lifted up your shoe and it was Gene Simmons' boot. That was fucking perfect, dude. Yes, there you go, man. Love it.
Always prepared. I liked also ironic that me and John Five both started the video like this, holding the Kiss pickup.
Yeah. Nice.
It's so funny because I happen to have about 150 Kiss picks from the Revenge tour that we did with them, but also I have 70s vintage Kiss picks, and so John pulled out a vintage 70s Kiss Ace pick, and I have those wrapped up in like cellophane, like I didn't want to open them up, so I'm just using my Revenge picks that I literally use on gigs, like they're all over my house in my washing machine and stuff. Like, oh, Paul Stanley pick. They're everywhere.
That's great.
Speaking of that Revenge tour, I mean, you've probably been asked this a million times, but like going into that, what was that experience like? As like, what were you, 18 to 20 at that point? I mean, just to be able to go with one of the biggest bands of all time on tour like that.
I think I was 19. Yeah, I think it was 19 going into that. 19, maybe just 20. Yeah, that was I mean, I grew up with Kiss being my kind of biggest influence. So getting that tour was huge. It was like, boom, that's it. We did it. This, bucket list.
Right. This is probably the $1 million question that you also probably get asked a lot, but what's the current status of Trixter? I mean, can we expect anything in the future?
I hope so. I don't know. I mean, we don't have anything going on now. I mean, it's kind of tough because Pete, our singer, he really can't commit to anything. He's working. He's got a regular job back at home, and he said, his words are, I can't really commit to anything, and even if I could commit to anything, I don't know when I could commit to it. So it's kind of hard to, book anything, with the four of us. It's kind of tough. I mean, who knows? You never say never. Things change all the time. So who knows? I mean, ideally, we like, the guys to get together and play. That's what we do. But, we'll see, one day at a time.
Right. Well, it's been 5 years since Human Era, and we really enjoyed that record. And
thank you.
What are your thoughts looking back, and how do you think it's aged in 5 years?
I think it holds up pretty well, actually. I think that record could come out today,
Yeah.
and
Right.
you wouldn't go, this record sounds like it came out 5 years ago, So I think in that aspect, I mean, it's only 5 years, but I mean, I think that could definitely come out today and even next year and the following year. I think it's just a pretty timeless pop rock record. I mean, it's I don't think it really has an expiration date. And I think could be, maybe our best record, or at least one of them. I mean, we're really proud of it, and it kind of took us by surprise because we weren't really prepared to do a new record.
Mhm.
And then Frontiers asked us to do one, so we just kind of, Steve had a couple songs written, I had some ideas, and before we knew it, boom, here's a new record. Go figure. And we're like, this is fucking good. This came out. So I mean, yeah, it's cool. And it got really good responses. So yeah, we're proud of it. And now we're still doing stuff that's, Steve just released, Tokyo Motor Fist,
Yeah.
his new record, which is some of the best stuff he's done, for sure. And I'm really excited about my new record. I think it's hands down the best stuff I've done. It's really come together like kind of deep breath, exhale, like, wow, this shit's really, I think I got it here. I think I got it right.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to hearing that. Both of us, our first show that we ever went to was the Blood, Sweat, and Beers tour in
That was your
'91.
first show?
Yeah, that was our first show.
Yep.
No way.
14-year-olds. So, I mean, looking back on that tour, do you have any good memories or stories from that tour?
A lot of them.
Yeah.
A lot of them. Yeah, well, I got everybody liked that tour. Look at
Oh,
that.
yeah, there you go.
Yeah.
That's tour. Trickster, Blood, Sweat, and Beers, 1991 Reader's Choice Awards. That was a tour, man. That was just like a cookout of the summer, basically. The three bands, just day one, got along so well. It was just like we were one big band, one big crew, one big party all summer long. It was like no egos. It was just, it was the tour most bands want to be on, put it that way. That's the way all tours should be.
Yeah.
And we actually just did Jericho's podcast, Talk is Jericho. Me, Steve, Eric Turner, and Bill Leverty from Firehouse.
Oh, wow.
And just all about the Blood, Sweat, and Beers tour.
We'll have to check that
So-
out.
Yeah, definitely.
I don't know when that's released, but it's coming out soon, I think. But yeah, we just kind of reminisced and talked about how cool it was, and just definitely one of the best summers of my life.
Right on. Well, I was going to say, and I mean, it's definitely the case, I think, with Trixter, but, all of your stuff that you've done is, it seems like, there's a lot of stuff, that was, you were lumped in with more of the image bands, but you guys never were, and it's always been more about the music. And, I wondered if you'd ever did you ever think that yourself? And, I mean, how did you navigate those waters?
I've always thought it was ironic that we got lumped in with a typical image hairband. Meanwhile,
Exactly, yeah.
we started the fucking flannel trend.
Yeah, yeah.
Fuck you. We had our own image.
Right.
We had long hair. That's it. That's all. And we were, cute young boys. And we had our own fucking image. I always use this line that I always used to describe grunge. I said, we had such a cool image that the fucking 90s grunge band took our flannels and hung us with them. So there.
Well, when we were coming up researching and trying to come up with questions, that's kind of one of the things I thought was exactly what you just said. It's like I remember the posters of the boots and the flannel and the Metallica shirts, and I'm like, you guys did that before anybody fucking did.
I remember we were like, the first time I saw it, actually, Guns N' Roses was the first band to have a flannel in their video. It was Dial MTV, and I think Trixter was still on on the countdown, and I think Don't Cry and Shannon Hoon and Axl were wearing flannels, and Shannon Hoon himself even gave Trixter props. One day I met him, and he's like, "Oh, you guys were wearing the flannels first. We know."
Wow.
That's good. Let you recognize that. And then, that User Illusions era was right in between the Trixter, Warren kind of, and then right in that gap of Nirvana, Soundgarden. And then that's when, boom, it was all flannel from there.
Right.
But Axl, we know.
Well, another show I wanted to bring up was Rocklahoma 2008. I don't know if you remember this, but you guys were the band on stage whenever that storm was rolling in. I was just wondering if you remember what that experience was like, seeing that off in the
I remember
west
going,
coming straight in.
it's our first show back in 13 years. I knew we shouldn't have fucking put this band back together. We're going to die here. Damn it. I knew it. I remember walking out on stage and looking to the right and seeing a cloud in the distance. I'm like, all right, it's far enough. I mean, it's a cloud. It's black, but it's cool. And then inside of 20 minutes, I just felt cold wind. And like those clouds were close now. And I'm like, whoa, gust of wind. I'm like, holy, and it starts raining and everyone's still out there. I'm like, if you guys are out there, I'm staying out here. And then all of a sudden, Pete's mic stand went whoosh, right off the stage. And then before I knew it, someone came out, picked me up and brought me off the stage. And then they're like, get off the stage, tornado. The stage is closing. It had a retractable front. I mean, you guys know it. Yeah. And the second stage collapsed, they said. And at first, we had just finished. They're like, somebody died on the second stage. Like, what? Eddie Trunk comes over. He goes, somebody just died on the second stage. It's the first thing I heard when I got off stage. I'm like, holy shit. And then we were literally trapped on the stage. They closed the front, and then they closed the back door. So we're just in the stage, like waiting. I'm waiting for a pickup truck to come flying into this thing. Yeah. Like
a big metal building.
It was shaking, and then it was settled down. And one of the security guards on stage was like, just wait. There's always a second one. I'm like, what? He's like, when there's a first, there's always a second. I'm like, he's a local. He knows what he's talking about. So, and then, that was pretty scary. Welcome back.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah. A couple years ago, we had Mark Gus Scott on and asked him the same thing. And he kind of said the same thing about 13 years back. And this is the first show.
We blew him away.
Yeah. Right. Well, man, we appreciate you taking the time to talk to us and really looking forward to the solo album and the Raw album and everything. And
thank you, man.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate talking and listening to me. I'll come back too once the record comes out and we'll talk about that and whatever else I got going on.
Yeah, that'll work.
10 more bands.
Right. There you go, PJ Farley of Trixter and Raw. And of course, as you heard in there, Eric Martin Band as well. I'd love to be able to see one of those shows someday, Getting to hear Mr. Big and Trixter with all the guys involved.
That would be something else.
Yeah, that's still on my my bucket list. It's like 5 or 10 bands. Mr. Big is one of them that I've never got to see.
That's I don't know. You might not ever see that. I don't know. It depends. Depends. Hey, goddamn, we might not ever see anything ever again. Who knows what's going on? I know I don't.
Let's try to be positive.
Yeah,
I think we will see.
Yeah.
We'll see Eric Martin Band one day, if not Mr. Big and Trixter or whoever,
Right.
A huge thank you to PJ Farley for taking some time out there, Talked to him for about 40 minutes, I think, and some really cool stuff. And like he said there at the end, once he gets his album out, he'll come back and talk more about that and whatever. So
that's cool.
Yeah, very glad to be able to get that one in. Like we said, our second member of Trixter. We had Mark Gus Scott on here. And it's been, I don't remember what episode, but that's been way back.
Quite a while ago.
Yeah, that was within the first year of the podcast, I think. And we're now on the 5th year. But we talked about all that great stuff. And like we talked about in this episode, Human Era, one of the better albums from bands from that era to come out in the past 10 to 15 years by far, I think.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Because I know we both, I still hold those first 2 albums, like you would. Kind of near and dear, but
right.
I would almost say the Human Era is the best album they've ever done.
I see. Okay.
Just musically, just the best album. But I still like the debut in Here, probably a little more just because that's what we grew up with, Anyway, check out Human Error if you hadn't. Check out that episode with Mark Gus Scott. We've also had on Bill Leverty of Firehouse and Joey Allen of Warrant. And along those lines, Frank Hannon of Tesla, Vivian Campbell of Def Leppard, Gene Simmons of Kiss. We talked a ton about Kiss there. Bruce Kulick.
We talked about him earlier. He's been on the show.
Yeah. Dizzy Reed of Guns N' Roses. Mark Kendall of Great White's been on here a couple times. Guys from Bullet Boys, Junkyard, Lillian Axe. A long-ass list when it comes to that kind of music. And then we've also had on, like we said, Seven Dust. We have John Connolly on here. Had on guys from Megadeth, Prong. Shooter Jennings has been on here. Corrosion Conformity. A long-ass list. 274 episodes you can go check out.
We just had Alex Skolnick on.
Oh, yeah.
Shit.
Yeah, how can I forget that?
Badass.
Yeah. But you can check out all that stuff at most places podcasts are heard, except for Spotify. But pretty much everywhere else. We've also got episodes coming up with members of Enterprise Earth, Violent Idols, Dirty Rotten, and Mark Mingy. I always forget how to say his last name, but I think I heard him say Mingy. Does that sound right to you?
I'm sure.
I used to say Mingy, but
see, I've heard it pronounced both ways. Who knows? But if that's whatever he said, you go with that.
Yeah, I'll look it up again before it's his episode, so I don't mispronounce it in case he listens. But
right,
Mark from Metal Allegiance and BPMD, just put out a great album a few weeks ago.
Yes, they did.
All right, well, I guess that covers it for another episode, right?
I think so.
Yeah, once again, thank you to PJ Farley of Trixter and Raw. And thank you, as always, to Sunset Tattoo, Med Farm, DEB Concerts, and Hella Hot Sauce. And until next time.
Good luck with everything, man. And good luck this weekend.
All right, yeah. Thanks, we'll need it. Bye-bye.
All right.
Thunder Underground, y'all.